Well, yeah. You're 2-0, Ronnie.
That's true. All right. So I was looking at Tulane yesterday at 4 different rushers, or led the team in rushing in each game, 4 different games. It seems like they just have different options. Is that kind of rare? Have you noticed it in preparing for that as well?
No, that's how they were a year ago too. I mean, with Will Hall as well, new offense coordinator now. I think that's just Willie Fritz football. And going back to his days at Georgia Southern, he's had multiple running backs. All of them been really good. And one game it may be Cameron Carroll. One game may be number 22, 6, 5. All 4 of those guys are dangerous back there. And 5, he'll play in the backfield, play out wide. But whoever they're putting the ball in their hands, you better do a good job getting downhill, triggering, and doing a good job tackling because they're all dangerous. And Cameron Carroll had a great game against us last year, so we know all about him. He's the one kind of that's back and the returner of the bunch. The other guys are kind of new faces or didn't play as much against us last year. But we got to do a good job against all of them. And it's certainly more of a offensive, schematic thing than it is about featuring one guy or another guy. It's about how they do business and how they do things. And receiver, too. You look at their receivers. I think their tight end leads the team in targets. 23 is next, but 2 and 3 are really good players. 4 is a really good player. He was a big-time target this time last year when we played him. So we got our work cut out for those guys out there.
Looking back at the Charleston Southern game, how frustrated were you with the start, but then also to make the adjustments to kind of get things back on track?
Yeah, I wasn't really happy with our performance. Our players weren't happy with our performance, and I don't think our fans were happy with our performance. And I think that's a good thing. I think any time that and one of our analysts said that, or one of our GAs said that, hey, it's great to be at a place where how you win matters. Not just getting through and cutting it by, but how you win and how you play matters. And that's important to us as coaches. We take a lot of pride in that. That's important to our players, taking a lot of pride in that. The first drive, I think it's about a 15-play drive, and we had several third downs, and we didn't execute on third down like we had in the past couple weeks, and kept us on the field. And then we had a 4th down play in there, and he scrambled and picked up the first, and then we hold him to a field goal. They call a false start on that, and which was close, I thought. And then they ended up getting the end zone. So if you don't take the opportunities to get off the field when you can, and you leave yourself out there, more times than not, bad things are going to happen. So we got to do a better job of that. In the second drive, we had him pinned down there deep, stuff him on the first snap, and just had a little mental execution on the second play of the game, and our second snap of that series, and it could have been third down from their own 1-yard line, and you're really, ears pinned back going to work. But later in the game, I thought, the kids did a good job making some adjustments, especially on the perimeter and out wide. And you got to give their quarterback some props too. He played really well. I've known Jack for a long time, and he was a handful the other night, just scrambling around, making some plays with his feet down the field, finding receivers. Overall, I told our guys, we looked at it and we reviewed the film, and we got to go back and make corrections. But we had 44 snaps the other night where they either gained 0 yards or negative yards. And so that's over 40% of your plays where you're holding them 0 or negative yards. I think that's a pretty good night. And then explosive plays, we gave up the least amount of explosives all year. But Coach Houston said this to the football team, the team on Sunday, death by inches. And he was talking about a little story there. But that's really what it was defensively. It was not one big play here, one big play there. Yeah, we had a few scrambles, but it was, hey, we get them to 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and we just couldn't get off the field when we need to. And they executed, and we didn't, and we got to sharpen those things up. So private guys that came back, executed, changed some things up as we needed to throughout the game, supported the edges a little bit different. And then late in the game when, a defense we practiced all year long, we needed our last 2 plays of the game. We stuck it in there, and they executed well and got it down and got out of there with a victory and a win. And that's what's most important, And you'll look back and say, hey, that's a win in record books, and that's what matters, so we're proud of that one. We'll move on and celebrate it.
How important is it going to be? Tulane got off to a good start against Oklahoma. I noticed that when I was watching them on TV, that one game anyway.
Yeah.
How can you address getting off to a good start and getting some early stops?
Well, I think more importantly than just Tulane, for us, for our confidence and how we play and our momentum and getting our crowd into it, it's important that we get off to a great start and give our offense good field position. And I think the same thing happened. Tulane's probably sitting there saying the same thing. They got down 21-0 last week versus UAB, and they come all the way back and make it a 7-point game, have a chance of winning at the end, or at least score and tie it up. So they're probably sitting there saying the same thing. So both of us, probably don't want to fall behind early. We need to fire our tails off to get the lead and come out there on top. You look at Tulane, whether it's the Oklahoma game, the Ole Miss game, they scored 21 points against Ole Miss in the first half. The Oklahoma game, it was up and down, had a chance to go in the fourth quarter and going down for the winning drive late in that game. So, important for us to get off to a good start, but not only that, continue throughout the game of just keeping our foot on the gas. I was just telling my position group, I said, if you're going down the highway and you let your foot off the gas, what happens? And they're like, well, you're coasting or you're losing speed. I said, it's the same thing in football. We got to keep our foot on the gas, whether it's a Wednesday practice, Tuesday practice, Thursday practice, Friday walkthrough, meetings. Our attention to detail, our purpose, our intent about how we do things has to be great. It has to be greater than Tulane's every single day, every moment. If we're not doing that, then we're coasting. We're letting our foot off the gas. And it's the same thing come Saturday, whether it's the first play, first series, first quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, whatever it may be. We got to keep our foot on the gas for an entire 4 quarters and execute.
With this matchup, is last year's game a big motivation, or is it more of this being the first conference game?
I think both. You always want to get off to a great start in your conference play. I mean, you got a chance to go 1-0 this week, and that's all that matters. And a 1-0 in conference and sitting there at the top is a lot better than sitting there at the bottom at 0-1. That's no certain about that. Then you look back at last year's game. I thought there was 2 games last year that you would love that kind of fires you up inside. You get a little bit bitter about. That's Georgia State, and you have to be able to erase that one. And then there's Tulane. And I didn't think we played very well defensively in either one of those games. So just the opportunity to go back and say, hey, here's what happened last year. Let's make sure we get this corrected, get this fixed, and you got more of a purpose going into it. And I think as a defense coordinator too, and players that have seen a similar offense, the OC is obviously different, but some similar schemes. You can kind of know what to expect going in. You know how that physical they play. You know how they execute. You know the quarterback a little better now. I mean, last year you're coming out of a situation where he only played a couple games, and now I think everybody in the country knows who he is, especially after that performance he had at Oklahoma.
I asked Coach Houston about DeBrew. It seemed like last week was kind of the first time he got what we expect from him, I guess. He said that a lot of that was intent, practice leading up to that game. How good is it to see him emerge along with Manny at that DN spot?
Yeah, Manny's been solid all season long, and Rick's starting to come along, getting a feel for the position now. And we need those 2 guys to come along big time each and every week throughout the rest of the season. So him coming, if there's a chance to get both of them on the field at the same time, and, because they're both gifted kids, and Rick's really talented and can rush the passer and can move around and twist up. So we need him out there and doing those type of things that he did for us last year and that we saw last Saturday.
Coach, so you get your pick 6, you go up 31-14, and then you guys are out there a lot. Did that play a factor in the last game, just being constantly on the field? Because when they scored, even it was home runs. So you guys are out there. I don't have the time on the field in front of me, but
yeah, I think we played over 100 snaps. I think it's like right at 100 on record, like 107 on the tape. I think I've been in games where 2 games you might play 100 snaps when you're playing with a triple option offense. So that's been a little bit different for me. But I blame ourselves for that a lot. It's just I think they were 8 of 20 on 3rd down. Our goal is to hold them to 60%, or be 66% success rate, hold them to 34%. So that would be like 5 of 20 or something like that. And that would take us off the field. We've been down about 75, 80 plays, which is where we should be. So we got to do a better job on 3rd down, getting off the field and executing there.
You guys went with the package of, I saw DeBrew lined up playing at nose and then a bunch of DBs and linebackers. I guess they got a first down on that play, but was it good to at least get that exotic package in there? Yeah, that's our exotic. You wish it would have executed exotic. We ran it twice the other night. Once when they were backed up, coming out from the Murphy side, got off the field there, and the other time was around the 50-yard line, and just didn't execute like we should have. We got some different things we can do out of that. It's just a chance, an opportunity for us to get some fresh guys on the field, get more speed on the field, more safeties, more corners, defensive ends, linebacker type guys that can get out there and run. So, and we'll continue to build those things just like we did last season, and they can be good for us. You get minimum reps at them during the week, so you got to carry those packages throughout the season. But you hope by mid-season, end of the season, all that comes together and we can execute those packages at a high level.
This isn't your first play against Tulane a little bit. Does that help you a little bit to have at least a little bit of experience against them?
Yeah, I think so. I think now you kind of know, hey, what their head coach is maybe thinking in some scenarios. Chip Long is obviously new. Him and Will Hall, I know they had some ties at North Alabama together when they were there. I think somebody said they were college roommates, but they come from similar backgrounds. So knowing their players and their personnel helps. I mean, anytime that you know, hey, here's what to expect going in, rather than going out there pre-game and saying, oh, okay, he's all 6'1" or he's 6'3", exactly what the program says. So you kind of got a pretty good feel going in, exactly their personnel, their head coach's personality, and even though it's a new OC, you kind of feel like, hey, I got a pretty good beat on that of just, hey, what they've been in the past, what he could be.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem. Thank you, guys.